Happy ReZero Day, as always. Let's get the cut content of the last episode before we watch the most recent one. Remember, you want to watch it live? Go show up on Twitch, or you can wait on YouTube. The humiliating defeat Subaru knew would break Julius. Shoutouts to Mr. AniNews. Let's check it out.
There's a bit more going on with Raid than what we've been shown in the anime.
What?
There's a bit more going on with Raid than what we've been shown.
Raid? Raid Shadow Legends or Read Shadow Legends? Now, you know what? R-E-I-D. You just look at the word. I could see how somebody could say raid. Remember, I'm always going to go with the weeb pronunciation. Read.
There's a bit more going on with Raid than what we've been shown in the anime. The test was never supposed to be the individual trial Raid turned it into, and the person this Raid was far different from the Sword Saint history recorded him as.
Dude, the coin did him so dirty. Bro has no neck. Bro has no chin. He is not mocking at all. Yo, this is a sad, sad depiction of Reed as a hero at the end.
History recorded him as. It makes the challenge in front of them all the more difficult, especially when one of their strongest fighters is currently questioning their entire identity.
That's right.
The anime does well to show that inner conflict, but the novel goes far deeper into what it is that's really bothering Julius. So that's exactly what we're gonna talk about here.
Let's go!
Let's get started.
No ad.
Episode 72, Julius Julius.
Julius
Covering chapters 4 and 5 from volume 22 of the light novel. With the man calling himself Stick Swinger wielding what was undoubtedly chopsticks, Subaru would take note of how this was the first person who actually knew how to use them. His time in Pristella revealed chopsticks did in fact exist here, but no one had the form or technique that Raid did. No.
This is a crazy technique. We're not just picking up food, he's fighting with the chopsticks.
Or technique that Raid did. No. The way Raid held his indicated the experience of an expert.
Oh.
It didn't matter how perfect one's technique with chopsticks were though, since stopping a sword with them just wasn't human.
Reed could pull up at a restaurant with other Asian people and use chopsticks, and other people would look at him and be like, oh, you are worthy. You know how to use the chopsticks. They give you the pass.
And evident enough? Perhaps stopping Aridina's lightspeed attacks made it so. If that wasn't evident.
That was crazy. He reacted to light speed. What? But also, it's like magic light that he's breaking. So it's like, what is the material of the chopsticks? I hope that it's Volcanica's scales, Volcanica's claw. It's got to be something just unreal.
Enough? Perhaps stopping Aridina's lightspeed attacks made it so. That's right. Every single one of her attacks moved at the speed of light.
What?
None of them really did anything to help.
Okay, if we're going to be really power scaling the speed of light right now, no move would ever... So are you telling... Like, this dude can basically move faster than speed of light then. This is getting tricky. Whenever you have, like, we're contesting speed of light stuff, it gets very muddy with power scaling. So he can move in the speed of light now. He can react to the speed of light. To any move, if you can't surpass that speed, you can't beat him physically, right? Like, what? What are we talking about? That's crazy.
Julius, but what did was his efforts to fight in a more unconventional manner. By releasing his mantle, then using the change in friction to create an opening where he could land a kick. That was the exact style of combat Raid was looking for. When Julius then followed up with what I can only...
A more dirtier, hands-on style. No more of this, you know, fucking, oh, sissy-ass knight chivalry stuff. Like, get in there and fucking fight with their life on the line. Is that what he wants?
Looking for. When Julius then followed up with what I can only assume is traditional swordsmanship, the disappointment Raid felt and the insults he would spew after, for a brief moment triggered some type of emotion from Julius.
That ain't your style. That's why you're boring. What are you doing fighting by yourself? That ain't it, kid. He really looks down on the Lagunican Knights. It seems like. I don't know why. Thank you, Elpo, for the 10 months. Appreciate you. He always like he singled out Julius too, telling him like something about his like grunts, right? So he looks down on the elegant form of the knight, and I think this is exactly what Julius needs. If you remember back in season 3 passage, after Heinkel crashed out and Subaru lashed out, and Julius said, "Man, Subaru, I wish I could be like you sometimes, but I can't because I have to be a chivalrous knight."
Yes. Subaru couldn't tell whether it was rage, hurt, despair, or something else, but the way Raid trampled over Julius's life's work really went to bother him. So when it came time to land an attack Julius had clearly practiced tens of thousands of times over, even Subaru could tell that there was doubt in it. What happened next was exactly as we saw, all the way up to Amelia's own fight with Raid.
Amelia won!
If you're wondering why she decided to charge a target that was stationary, Amelia had determined all her other means of attack were useless. If all she did was fire at him from a distance, then the fight would remain a deadlock and no one would get anywhere. The anime does a great job portraying just how relentless Amelia's ice brand arts are, as the way Subaru describes it, she was leaving no openings to intervene. You see, as much as Subaru wanted to jump in and help, with the tempo at which Amelia was attacking, there was no opportunity to help.
He's like Krillin right now. Looking at the Cell games, he can't jump in and help, bro. He'd be a liability.
Unless Amelia started to slow down due to a decrease in stamina, jumping in now would only serve to distract her. That's just how little space Amelia was giving Raid to work with. Now, the first opening came after Amelia stumbled from an ambitious twin sword attack, then the second was with Raid and his inappropriate shenanigans. The outcome was exactly as we saw, along with the additional conditions that everyone else needed to pass. Raid's declaration.
That was crazy when then he called out Biko next. He's like, hey, you little one, you up next? And Biko, straight up, stood on business. She was giving him the stink eye, like, yeah, you wanna fight?
That everyone else needed to pass. Raid's declaration of that was followed by an intensity unlike any Subaru had felt before, almost like both the battles he just had were child's play. It was as if the air itself was burning now. Beatrice did try to catch Raid on a technicality, but a matter of phrasing wasn't something Raid was gonna let them slide on.
Everyone gotta win by themselves?
Whatever the test was supposed to be beforehand, it was now far different due to Raid's own personal desires. At first...
So he's... Hey, referee, step in! What? You're letting this guy just like overwrite the test written by Flugel? Now the test is changing? So Charlotte's gonna crash out and kill us if we break the rules, but if we break the rules, nothing matters?
The test was supposed to be beat Raid via whatever means were necessary, but for some reason not yet explained to us, Raid found that boring, forcibly woke himself up and changed the rules to be more entertaining.
Bullshit!
So, where before it would have been a team challenge to fight Raid to...
Does Melee have to fight? Is there Mobbies to maybe Melee can order Shala to fight. That'd be actually so hype, and it would reveal that Shala actually is like a Scorpion Terminator Mobbeast.
For it would have been a team challenge to fight Raid to the death. Now it was an individual challenge where everyone would likely have to get lucky.
Okay.
It was honestly tough to say which was better. Raid would then make a crude comment about that, leading Subaru to lash out with his whip. Subaru obviously did...
Oh yeah, he did use the whip. I think someone else mentioned that too.
Shout with the...
Rub some tit. All of you teaming up to kill me are getting a lucky shot by letting me rub some tit. So I guess all the girls can win just by letting him rub some tit, but the guys have to actually pull up?
His whip. Subaru obviously didn't expect to hit him, but he did surprise Raid with his weapon choice. One more crude comment later and...
Weapon choice. He respects the whip, maybe? I don't know. It kind of feels like Reed doesn't like traditional swordsmen, and he prefers warriors that are willing to fight with other means.
Surprise Raid with his weapon choice. One more crude comment later, and Melee would then ask how Subaru...
Wait?
One more crude comment.
You got some good taste, kid. Save the whip cracking for your enemies and your girl. But remember how Subaru said, I'd rather be the one to get whipped back in like episode 3 or something?
Later, and Melee would then ask how Subaru could be so casual with Raid. He did just knock out Julius, grope Amelia, and shock Shala into submission, so why then did he not treat this opponent the same way he did all the others? As far...
Is it because Reed, Party, Flugel, Satala was all there? Subaru actually is Flugel. There's some residual instinctive memories and bonds that is making him treat him differently?
As he knew, this was a man as strong as Reinhard. Still, Subaru seemed intent on continuing the fight regardless, knowing all too well victory was impossible. It was Melee who would convince him retreat was best, but it was actually Raid who would end the test himself. You see, the moment Subaru had asked if they were allowed to leave and come back, Raid, in a seemingly childish fit of rage, simply said he was bored and wanted them out. It was as if he didn't like the idea of them not wanting to fight, so rather than deal with their rejection, he decided to reject them first.
He's a special one. That's kind of funny. It's just quirks like that just kind of adds more to the character. He would rather reject you first before getting rejected himself.
This left Subaru a bit confused, since if Raid could just end the test on a whim like that, then who's to say he'll even allow them to challenge him again?
Who's to say we even need to do this? It just feels like get him in a good mood and we can just pass up. I don't think we need to actually beat him one by one. Just as quick as he changed the rules at a test, I'm sure he can quickly change his mind too if the right circumstances meet up.
Who's to say he'll even allow them to challenge him again? Well, there was no guarantee he even would, since at the end of the day, he was the only one who could judge them. So if Raid was pissed and didn't want to do the test, then there was nothing Subaru and the others could do to change that.
Thank you, Zoro-sama, for the prime.
They could always try and force the challenge, but Raid warned them that when he wasn't open to fighting, that's when he stopped playing. In other words, he would fight to kill.
Oh.
It was in this moment that Subaru knew Raid was serious, since the tone he warned them with was far different from anything they'd yet to see from him.
No more playing.
Raid still wore a fiendish smile, but now there was this highly potent murderous intent behind it. It was as if Raid had turned into this evil beast. No one had realized it at the moment, but when Amelia fell to her knees first, that's when everyone conscious realized they weren't breathing anymore.
Amelia fell to her knees first. Subaru, my man, what's going on, bro? Your girl getting groped. She's falling to her knees.
If not for Amelia serving as a reminder, Subaru too would have passed out from suffocation. The thing is, just knowing he had to breathe didn't make it any easier. With the way he struggled to bring air into his lungs, to say Raid's looks could kill would no longer be an expression.
There's some Shanks conquers hockey stuff where everyone just starts passing out and they can't even stand.
So, had Amelia not fallen first, then Subaru knew for sure he would have suffocated too.
Imagine just dying in place. You suffocated to death because you forgot how to breathe because the spiritual pressure, bro. The gravity of the aura, it was too much.
In the end, Raid would set himself up to take a nap, while the others would carry their wounded and figure out a new plan. So, unlike how the anime made it seem like the group retreated, it was actually more Raid just kicking them out.
Okay.
There wasn't really any other option here. Now, it was as the group discussed what to do next that Subaru's concern for Julius would stem from him noticing there was more to his defeat than just losing.
This is the only thing he has left, bro. His identity is forgotten by everybody, and he's a very strong person. Yet as a swordsman, that should be able to pass this test, but he can't even do that. Imagine that. This is the only thing that he has left, and he can't even do that. He can't even serve his function. What good is he? No wonder he'd be crashing out. He's got nothing. He has Subaru though?
Sure, he survived to get back up and his sword could always be repaired, but what couldn't be fixed was the damage done to Julius's swordsmanship.
Oof.
It's because of that Subaru couldn't be sure of what Julius would do next.
I think this is a great way to hint at Julius's evolution. Let's scrap the old. Get this, nice little chivalrous knight stuff out of here. And now let's reforge new style, new technique, new identity, along with the sword.
Of course, Aridana's actions were concerning too, but for those wondering why she willingly casted so much magic, that's something she'll explain herself later.
Either there is some, because again, Echidna doesn't know who the fuck Julius is, and actual Anastasia doesn't know who Julius is anymore, and this is Echidna piloting. Did she reacted that way? Why? Because maybe even Anastasia forgot and she's not piloting that deep inside, her instincts made Echidna react like that. It's either that or Echidna has her own plans, and Julius is a very important piece of that plan. Whatever that plan could be, I have no clue, but that was a very odd reaction.
For now, all we know is exactly what Subaru knows. There was genuine concern for Julius behind her desperation. I would love to talk more about the world's strongest characters too, but aside from their names and silhouettes, the novel doesn't add anything more to them.
Nah? Bro, Ellen Historian made a whole ass fucking video talking, highlighting the strongest of ReZero World. I think AniNews should take the opportunity and just make a quick video, just quickly summarizing them. I bet it would do numbers.
When it came to the conversation with Shala, for any scenario where Shala was knocked out,
that's crazy. You can see his fucking Kaka band over here, bro. You see that? That's basically the panty fan service equivalent, but for Reed instead.
Due to a fault other than her own, she was convinced everyone except for her master would then get slaughtered. I guess that's just how powerful she views herself, and a step above that is Subaru. Or I guess her master. Shallow would then reveal the mysterious opponent was Raid, the name of the swordsman spoken of in legends. From mob beasts and master swordsmen to dragons.
He's sitting on Volcanica, I think, or something that he felled. There's like a beast oozing with like orange blood or something, but it feels like he's standing on some sort of scale. Sitting, sorry.
And even a witch. Raid was said to have cut down all of them. He was the first sword saint and one of the 3 heroes who saved the world.
Ooh.
Of course, that was all 400 years ago, but considering who it was who built the tower and their tendency to make the exams near impossible, having them challenge the first sword saint seemed exactly like something the sage would do. Fortunately, among their group was someone who knew everything of the sword saints, thus the reason Subaru wanted to go talk to him.
And then we realize the history books are bullshit, and they drastically over-exaggerate and romanticize historical figures, and Reed is nothing like what Julius thought. And he was just like, what? Don't meet your heroes kind of moment.
As we saw though, Julius would be missing, and this is where the story would switch to his perspective.
This is sad.
First, it was actually Raid's, and from it we got a glimpse of the person whose life had always been lived on the battlefield. He had always trotted the line between life and death, so no matter what happened, he was always calm. Whether he was in the mood to play was a different story, but before Julius had even entered the room, Raid knew it was him. From the aura he gave off to the sound of his shoes and his gait, Raid knew exactly who it was who was challenging him again.
It's like that scene in Unlimited Blade Works when Saber glazes the teacher's perfect movement and posture about his gait, no wasted movements. Okay, bro can tell, he could hear by the clothing fabric moving, it's Julius coming.
It's not like he thought it would make much of a difference, but out of courtesy, Raid would warn him this time he wasn't gonna be playing. So what came next was exactly as we saw. A one-sided beatdown ending in Julius's defeat.
Sad.
It was in between that the novel gives a whole bunch of self-reflection, Julius's thoughts on everything as they happened. So, the unfamiliar sword wasn't as much of a detriment as you might think, as Julius had trained himself to be comfortable with any sword. So
this sword doesn't really have much meaning, right? It's just, hey, you need to fight this guy for your next test and you'll probably need a weapon, so just use this, right? It's just like a trial sword. We don't have to worry about it, right?
Julius had trained himself to be comfortable with any sword. So long as he compensated for the heavier tip and thicker blade, Julius felt he could fight the same way he always did.
Thicker blade?
How he controlled the sword was only half the battle though, as footwork was just as important as everything else. In fact, before even mastering the sword, Julius's footwork had come first.
Movement.
This was all due to the teachings of his master, who
Yo, this guy is apparently the father of Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest, the leader of the pack. Dumb, ReZero Ratchins? Yeah. This guy's dad. Can you imagine that? So remember, this guy's lore is that he actually has like a noble background, but he ran away. I don't know why, what was going on in the family. That's his dad. That's crazy, right? His name is Rickert, I think? And this is Ratchins? It's crazy. And he was there again in the season 1, you know, arc 3 content as on the, not on the night side anymore. Reinhardt, it looks like Reinhardt retired this guy in the vacuum backstory. Maybe he never took up the sword again and he decided to like go to like politics route and he looks very sad and depressed. And he also showed up. He showed up at Biko's library. Isn't that crazy? Like this dude actually is quite significant. He was in the flashbacks where they were showing all the different visitors coming to Biko's library and Biko waiting for the one. He was there.
Despite being unable to increase his own skill, did well to nurture the talents of others. He was the type of person to share time and time again the history of techniques, their development, and their inheritance.
What a good guy.
Naturally, Julius loved hearing about them, so to him, it was an honor to be able to put them all into practice. A core part of this practice was the incorporation of spirit elements into his swordsmanship, a key aspect serving to handicap Julius in a way the anime didn't show us.
Nerfed.
You see, with his back against the wall and no time to think, Julius instinctively resorted to the techniques he practiced the most.
What does spirit shit really do to, like basically, in the absence of spirits, what are we missing? Does he get a buff with spirits? Like, I'm talking physicality, because it just looks like he shoots beams. Like, Al Clarissa was pretty cool. We can use the spirits in terms of utility, right? Like sharing vision, like what we did versus Betelgeuse. But other than that, it just kind of feels like the spirits just kind of gives him longer range beam attacks and some other utility, but in terms of melee physical stuff, it's not really hindering, right?
Julius instinctively resorted to the techniques he practiced the most. This would be an offensive blade of wind that extended his range, or a simultaneous casting of fire and water combined with a three-pronged sword strike.
Ooh.
With Julius's contract severed and the elements no longer supporting though, every attempt to attack just left him with even more openings.
The elements are on strike, but they won't leave him. They're like, what the hell? We'll stick around though. They're like confused, but they still stick around Julius.
The very thing that once excelled Julius to the title of finest was now rendering him the weakest. Where Julius's spirits would allow him to—
Nah, this is a great opportunity to again reinvent himself. With the coaching of Reed to find his new identity and also swordsmanship, I think Julius is about to become stronger than ever.
get the best of anyone. Now even the most average of fighters could beat him. He kept making openings thinking his spirits would allow him to get the best of anyone. Now even the most average of fighters could beat him.
No, that's bullshit though. If the absence of these ranged attacks makes you susceptible to anyone can beat him, you're fucking nothing without the spirits. Nah, I feel like that's not a very good way to represent him.
He kept making openings thinking his spirits were there to cover him. The only time Raid—
I'm sure that would be a bad habit though, right? Like imagine like, I don't know, it's some sort of video game or whatever, you have like endgame gear and you're getting away, you know, being lazy. You can skip mechanics and now it's gone. And now it's like, oh shit, I gotta actually like lock in and try now.
was somewhat impressed was the moment Julius instinctively recovered by doing something unexpected. Still, nothing changed the fact Julius's swordsmanship was boring, thus the reason Raid felt the need to mock it. Raid wasn't lying when he said the first time he picked up a sword was 3 months ago, so where he could cut light and Julius couldn't cut anything, that was truly disappointing.
Okay, but the guy cutting light after picking up a sword for 3 months and surpassing everyone in the world, like that is just... That's bullshit. That's not hard work. I'm sure he worked hard, but are we serious right now? You're cutting light after 3 months in? You are born lucky as fuck to be this talented. I'm sure hard work is put in, but I'm sure other people have worked just as hard and can't even cut light because they could never.
It was upsetting to know that Julius felt he could win that way. For Julius, this was his everything though, since if unable to prove himself here with his sword, that meant he had nothing. He'd already lost his name, his house, his family, his friends, and even the spirits bound to him, so
He still has Subaru though. He still got him.
all Julius had left was the effort he was confronting Raid with now. To him, this was the only proof left that he existed.
Damn.
To Raid, that proof—
Like again, this is the only thing he has left. It's actually so sad. It's so pitiful. This dude has nothing. He's so depressed. This is the one thing that he has. One fucking function to be a swordsman, and he can't even do that. And then the way that he crashes out Subaru, it's so good. It's the parallels are so nice. It's just that we're in a different position and Subaru can now help him reminding himself of what happened in the past.
was nothing though, as all it was him copying someone else. Nothing of Julius's swordsmanship was his own.
He needs original new techniques? A new weapon even? Should he just pick up the chopsticks and start fighting with chopsticks? I feel like Reed would say you're copying me now. So I don't know. How do you come up with your own original just like techniques? Maybe it's supposed to be like formless. Like that one moment when he stood up and kicked. He needs to stop it. Stop following techniques and forms. Go formless and just wild out. Let your instincts take over. Start fighting like Tarzan.
The techniques he admired and looked up to, Julius's very idol was now dragging through the dirt. Julius didn't want to think the way he lived was wrong, but with the way Raid was so relentlessly tearing him apart, now Julius was starting to think he was mistaken. Sure, he may have followed the path of someone else, but never until now did Julius think that that was wrong. Only here did he start wondering if perhaps his way of life The very core of his beliefs, values, and ideals were misguided.
That's called a midlife crisis. This is when you question your entire framework of reality. Everything you believed in seems to be just wrong. You have no anchor. You have no nothing tying you down to roots. You have lost your identity and you're going through a midlife crisis thinking, shit, maybe I should buy a motorcycle.
Before, it was those beliefs that gave Julius his strength, but after losing even his sword, Julius could only wonder who it was that was standing here. With no name, no pride, and not even a sword,
No pride!
Julius couldn't even be sure he was Julius anymore.
Damn.
Everything that defined who
He needs to return to Yuli. Mercenary Yuli, just like in season 1.
he was gone. It was Subaru yelling his name that served to remind him he wasn't, but whether he was actually
This scene was so good. It was so dramatic. I thought he was actually gonna die. I was a little bit disappointed that Julius didn't die here. The way that this scene played out, the look on Julius's face as he's getting disintegrated, like, whoa! Like this scene, that look in the face, I feel like I've seen something like this. I don't know where though. It feels like a trope. Somebody making this face as they're getting obliterated. I don't know. Where have I seen? I feel like I've seen a scene like this in other anime. It's just like, but this was like really dramatic.
wasn't, but whether he was actually deserving of the name was a different story.
No, this is not Reinhardt versus Elsa. You guys are not fucking listening. I'm comparing the look on Julius's face as Subaru is reaching. I'm not talking about the same sword attack that did the thing. I'm talking about this scene. I feel like I've seen this shit where somebody's about to get just like eliminated and they look away and then just phase away.
That served to remind him he wasn't, but whether he was actually deserving of the name was a different story.
Cherry on
That
top
was
moment.
all Julius could think about before getting enveloped, swallowed by a white light brighter than the white room they were in.
Oof.
Subaru couldn't be sure of what had caused it, but just know this wasn't a creative decision from the anime.
What?
Swallowed by a white light brighter than the white room they were in.
Wait a minute.
Subaru couldn't be sure of what had caused it, but just know this wasn't a creative decision from the anime. It was as if Raid's serious attack truly did cut light itself.
I mean, we saw him cut. I mean, this is also like the same similar technique that we saw, like Reinhardt use. I'm sure it's an Austria technique. Imagine it's like the first thing that they learned. You just swing. You just swing. Swing? Dude, this move's kind of fraudulent. Elsa survived it. Yeah, she's a vampire kinda, but she survived it. Julius survived it. Listen, there's reasons why they survived it, but both times it was used and no one died. Interesting.
As if Raid's serious attack truly did cut light itself. Now,
you know how Saitama uses like serious punch and it's just a single punch and it just like obliterates everything? That's the way I feel about this. This is like the Austria's version of serious punch. It's just serious slash.
Now, what came after was a brief interaction between Subaru and Raid, Subaru calling Raid the usual names while Raid playing it off and calling everything boring.
Nah, Puck Dine doesn't count. That was the fucking Dragon Sword, bro. Dragon Sword carry.
Subaru did ask why Raid acted so generously after saying he was gonna be serious, the answer to which came down to pride. You
Pride
see,
mentioned.
Raid found it far more embarrassing to be forced to retreat by chopsticks than to actually be killed by them. Be serious, the answer to which came down to pride. You see, Raid found it far more embarrassing to be forced to retreat by chopsticks than to actually be killed by them. If the positions were reversed, then Raid said he'd much rather die than show his face after getting that type of beatdown.
What a brat. What a child, bro. He doesn't use the chopsticks because it's like his favorite. Of course, it's not his fucking favorite tool, but like he uses it just to humiliate you. You ever play fighting games? Have you ever played like fighting games in real life? You sit down and play somebody at a LAN party. Have you ever played people who intentionally play low tier characters but they're better than you? And they beat other people playing high tier characters as a low tier character? And the humiliation that they feel afterwards? This is the same thing. This guy here isn't here to win. He's here to destroy you. Okay? He will basically create all these different sandbags and disadvantages and basically smurf while still beating you just because he can to let you know that I'm better.
Personally, I think he's being more of a tsundere, but how long that lasts we'll have to see. Personally, I think he's being more of a tsundere, but
Tsundere, huh? Sundir.
how long that lasts we'll have to see.
Sundir.
Either way, for now, Raid doesn't seem all too intent on killing them.
Okay.
Moving on to when Subaru was returning back. While everyone was doing all they could to find Julius, Subaru immediately knew exactly where he'd be.
At the healing room? No backup fighting? No.
He was the only one who understood what it was Julius was going through, so
Yeah.
knowing where to find him was easy.
Because he went through it.
Subaru also
It's so fun to know that, like, Julius did all this after he was inspired by Subaru. He was a white knight in front of a literal white knights, and Julius was like, whoa, that was cool, bro. I've never seen anything like it. You moved me. Now prepare to die.
understood what it was Julius was going through, so knowing where to find him was easy.
He did this out of love.
Subaru also related to the disappointment Julius felt in meeting this legendary figure, as just like the sage, both weren't what either expected them to be. That said, with the way the person on
That coin is the biggest humiliation ever. This is such a crazy frame. That chin. What? Who made this coin? Yo, Reed should go kill that guy. Yo, fuck this test right now. You bring the person who made this coin.
the gold coin looked older than the raid currently hosting the exam. That meant the version of him upstairs was simply younger than the person the history book told legends of.
Oh, hell no.
That would explain why he didn't recognize Shala, as well as give context for why he mentioned 3 months earlier. Either way, this younger raid was probably far closer to his prime than the raid who fought the witch.
Okay.
That didn't give way for much hope, but as an exam, there had to be a way to pass it. In the end, Subaru and Julius would share that touching moment together, both
Touching.
connecting over the similar hardships they went through.
Oh, they bonding,
Because
alright.
of the lesson Julius had taught Subaru in the past, Subaru knew better than anyone exactly what it is Julius was feeling.
He's the only
He
one that knows.
understood the pain and loneliness that came after such a humiliation,
Aw.
enough to know he couldn't leave Julius to be by himself.
Aww.
The anime then shows Julius's true feelings on Subaru's proud declaration,
Yeah.
wrapping up the episode in the best way possible. So that was that for episode 6 and pretty much all we had to talk about.
Cool.
I hope you enjoyed learning more about the story, and if you did, then be sure to leave a like and comment.
Of course, as usual, please go check out Mr. AniNews and help support the man. Love his synopsis, his summaries of the content after adding extra details. And it feels like the meat of the content here was obviously just Julius's POV, what he's lost, how he's feeling, and all of the above. And also reads like childlike tantrums to understand that he just wants to humiliate you with the chopsticks. To say that he wants to just like end the test before when, you know, because he wants to reject them before he can get rejected himself. It's fun. It's fun to know that, you know, this sword saint, the first sword saint, the hero, right, is not this like holy symbol of heroism that is all perfect, but like he's a real person. He likes titties. He likes to drink. He's strong as fuck, and he's trying to make Julius like understand that like there's other ways to like be yourself, and what you're doing right now is merely copying, mimicry. Who are you? What are you? I think it's such a cool theme, especially with everyone forgetting his identity. Even the sword breaking again, right? Such a cool little symbolism to hint that like this is the beginning of a rejuvenated, redone, you know, like he's going to find himself and perhaps be even stronger. Be really cool to see. See you next time.